Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 19. We have quite a bit to go over in this one. We will finish mining the current level of the coal mine, and get started on the next one, set up a big diesel storage facility, so we can stockpile a large amount of it in preparation of the impending rebuilding of the refinery, and we will make some room around the town, by moving the maintenance facility to a new place, where it won't be blocking those town building slots. But, the biggest project will be the food wastage processing, where we will take the excess food we produce, and turn them into biodiesel. Which means, we will set up the food delivery belts for the town, since we need it to pass next to this facility, so it can go through a set of balancers, where we can determine if we need to start funneling them into the facility or not. Before we get started, if this is not your first video from this channel, you already know what to expect. If you want to be kept up to date, please consider subscribing, and if you like what you see, leaving a like will also help letting me know what to focus on. But enough talking, let's get into it. Let's start by temporarily removing the tree harvesters from the forestry tower. I would like to finish up the deforesting efforts, since we have very little left on that front. Next, we should start building the next level of retaining walls for the coal mine. We are close to finishing the current level, so we should get ready for the next one. It's just going to be a continuation of the existing ramp. Nothing fancy. And that's pretty much it for the start of this next level. But, we should leave a small gap, so vehicles can still pass through. The terrain is a bit uneven at the entrance at the moment. But it will all be smoothed out once we are done with the current level. And while we are busy setting up the new retaining walls around the mining pit, we are done researching the Tier 4 construction parts. We are in less of a hurry to set that one up, so we will take care of it when we have the time. And yes, we are wasting a bit of coal around the edges. Maybe I should have built the walls one more tile away from the center, but at this point, I won't fret over such a minuscule amount. Also, you might notice that the game looks a tiny bit different than usual. I decided to install the shader injector called Reshade, but I didn't want to go overboard with it. I just gave the game a bit of sharpening, so some of the details are easier to see. I also increased the saturation on the colors, so they would look a bit more vibrant, and lastly, I messed around with the contrast, so areas that are in shadow appear a tiny bit more dark. That's it, nothing major. I also gave this treatment to Transport Fever 2, but forgot to mention it in the last episode on that one. I also plan on using it in Workers and Resources, since that game is a bit blurry to begin with. In fact, that game was the reason why I decided to start messing around with this, and then applied it to the other two games I'm currently playing. Let me know how it is. I feel that sharpening might be unnecessary on this particular game, since it's already pretty good on that front. But I do believe that Workers and Resources will benefit from it greatly, but you will need to wait and see how that one turns out. Anyways, I am done with the retaining walls for now. We will finish the rest once the excavators are done messing around with the current level of mining. And good thing I spotted this while looking around. The garbage collectors in town are pretty much full. We need more of them. Now, we could justify building an incinerator, which is different from the burners we are currently using, and use the heat from it to generate some more power. The problem is, we would need to supply it with either fuel gas, or hydrogen, both of which we are short of at the moment. Next, I built a couple large storage tanks for diesel. As you might recall, I would like to rebuild the oil refinery in the near future, so we should stockpile some fuel for that eventuality. Now comes the maintenance. It was great at the start, but now it's in the way of the town's support buildings. If we move it somewhere else, we could make use of those. I suppose this will be okay. It generates recyclables anyway, so we can hook it up to the sorting plant. But, since we are rebuilding, let's treat this as an upgrade too, so let's build a second one. I still haven't put rubber on the bus, so we will only belt in the iron and the copper. Good thing it's right next to the facility. Alright, at this point we can safely get rid of the old one, and make room for the town buildings. We are also suffering from a bit of a workforce shortage, so let's upgrade some more of the town districts. Next, let's take care of the recycling. As I've said, we will just need to belt it into the nearby recycling plant. We should try to finish the early parts of the walls as soon as possible, so we can get started on those parts of the mine at a moment's notice. I also noticed that we are struggling with the vehicle logistics a bit. How about we build 6 more trucks, just to get us up to an even 40? Wow, good thing I noticed this. Corn is very important right now, so we really need it to keep flowing. I would like to free up this corner of the town, so let's start moving the buildings out bit by bit. We will start with the hospital, and then deal with the rest as we go along. And you know what, since we will build that biodiesel plant today, we might as well get rid of this particular setup now. It's a bit of an eyesore anyway. Okay, can't be delayed any longer. Time to move the concrete factory. Alright. With that water pipe in place, we can get rid of this one. We need to start organizing things a bit better, and this is meant to do just that. Also, I just remembered that the veggie farms are set incorrectly. We need to make a little bit less than what we are currently growing. This should also help with the fertilizers, since we are overusing them a bit right now. Okay, we are really close now. Let's set up a bit more of the walls. And it seems we just hit the ceiling on our healthcare production. It will take me a second to notice the problem. Good thing we have the captain's office. We can just enable the health boosting edicts, we can easily afford it, and deal with the problem a bit later. It seems we are lacking the production throughput on the medical equipment. Doubling it should take care of the issue. The fertilizer tank looks a lot more full these days. It really didn't take much to get us back into the positive on that one. I also wanted to put fertilizers on the main bus. We could route it just below the water pipe. I really want to get rid of the old pipes at this point. We also keep getting notifications that the tree farm cannot unload all the saplings. Since that's a good thing, we can turn those notifications off. Okay. I think it's time to get started on the biodiesel facility. Right next to the main bus makes the most sense. We will pass our food through here anyway. Currently, we can only compost the potatoes and veggies. The corn cannot be used for this, so we only need 2 storages. I really don't know how many digesters we need for this, so I just decided to play it safe, and built 6 in total, 3 for the 2 kinds of food each. I also didn't bother building an elaborate sorting setup for this. We are just going to split the belts between the digesters 50-50. Same as before, the digesters will output compost and fuel gas. We can just dump the former, and reprocess the latter. We might as well set both of those storages to be kept empty. It's only really relevant for the compost either way. Now, what do we need for the fuel gas processing again? Oh, right. The cracking unit. Fuel gas plus oxygen equals diesel and water. Simple enough. I think I ended up building one more cracking unit than we really needed. I will end up building only 2 air separators for the oxygen, so we could only really supply 2 units with that amount of O2 anyway. Well, whatever. I highly doubt we will ever see this place be utilized at 100% anyway, so that small error isn't going to have any impact. I might still fix it for the sake of our workforce, but still. It's pretty minuscule. Anyways, that's the fuel gas input taken care of. Next, we need the oxygen, and as usual, we will use an air separator for it. Lovely. Things are coming together quite nicely. The finished diesel can just go into this big storage tank at the end. All that's left is the water output. Good thing we have the pipes going to the farms right next to the setup. But, we should make sure that this place never gets backed up with it, so we should set up a balancer, and prioritize the water from this facility over the main desalinator setup. Now, the input for the entire setup. We will do that with balancers, of course. First, let's draw out the continuation of the main bus. I kind of doubt we will build anything substantial on this part of the island, apart from farms of course, so I don't think we will use the main bus here, but still. It never hurts to be prepared. Next, let's start belting the foods toward the town. Since the topmost parts of the main bus are already occupied, we can belt the crops on level 2 instead. We just duck under the pipes, and start our journey toward the town, with a small pit stop at the biodiesel plant. Now, the balancers. As you might have guessed, we will set them to prioritize sending the food toward the town, and once the belts start backing up at the biodiesel processing, we will start sending the excess into the digesters. And that should do it for this part. Now we just need to belt the 3 lines all the way to the town. The problem is, the food markets are arranged differently from the belts, so we will need to do a tiny bit of acrobatics once we get there. And I just noticed that one of the mining towers ran out of mineable designations. That must be the coal mine. I just paused the game, finished what I was doing, and we'll deal with it once we're done here. Yep, the coal mine is done with the current level. Let's send the excavators over to the entrance, and start digging out the next one. Once all of them are past this gap in the walls, we will fill it in, and deal with the walls at the other end of the mine. Alright, they will dig out the ramp, and start excavating the next level. Now, about these belts. They are organized a bit awkwardly, so we need to make them jump over each other once or twice. But, this is very much temporary. Remember, we are trying to free up the space where the food markets currently are, so they are not long for this world. That was easier than expected. Anyways, that takes care of that. All this extra fuel production really impacted our crude oil tanks. Maybe we should upgrade the oil rig on the world map. We should also add another balancer, this time for the corn belts. I would still like to prioritize sending it toward the ethanol production, and only allow people to eat the rest. And at this point, we can build this facility. Any potato or vegetable that doesn't fit into the belts going toward the town will instead be funneled toward it, and turned into biodiesel. Just like that. Well, I noticed that our number of workers is once more perilously close to zero, so I decided to upgrade another set of districts. And I think it's time to start moving the food markets. We just need to make sure we build them according to the way the belts are arranged, and it should be okay. We are also short on Tier 2 construction parts, so we can open the valve on the Tier 1s, and make some Tier 2s real quick. Okay, I think that should be enough for now. All that's left is to belt in the crops in the correct orientation, and our job is done. Alright, we can safely get rid of these at this point. It seems I forgot to set the biodiesel storage to be kept empty all the time, and it got filled up from the oil refinery output. Before we call it quits, let's make sure we move all that fuel back where it belongs. And we have another coal mine we can use on the world map. Maybe we should consider using it soon, since the coal mine we have is getting close to the end of it. We can still use it to mine stone, which I fully intend to do, but we can only get so much coal out of it before it is completely tapped out. Okay, that should do it for the diesel tanks. And the oil rig is upgraded at this point, so we can send some more people to it, and extract the oil even faster. To be fair though, maybe we should repair the other rigs now, and split the deliveries between them. If we use all of them at the same time, maybe we can save a bit on construction parts, since we won't need to upgrade them too much. And look, the outro montage just started. That means we are at the end of the episode. In the next one, we will likely deal with the mines a bit. Both the iron and the copper are getting close to the ends of their designations, so we should prepare for them. And I think I am ready to start rebuilding the main bus around the factories. I've been meaning to do it for quite a while now, and I think it's time. We should also start thinking about building a cargo dock for the coal deliveries. We will need to do it sooner or later anyway, so might as well be prepared. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and leaving a like would also let me know that this video was worth making. If you feel that it was good enough, and you can afford it, please consider going to my Ko-fi page, which you can find in the description, and donate an amount that you feel is appropriate. And if you did like what you've seen, there should be links to some of my other videos and playlists on the screen. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.